You're listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more. Wepa, what mi gente, it's your boy Al Mega, and welcome to a brand new Comic Crusaders podcast episode. And today, I'm excited because we got a heavy hitter in the house, baby, an absolute editing mastermind who's worked on some of the most legendary books in the game, straight out of Marvel Comics, right? And she's about to be a big boss with Mad Cave Studios. That's right, baby. Let me bring the big boss herself, the one, the only, Sarah Brunstad. Wepa, how you doing?
Hey, thanks so much for having me. Really excited to be here.
Yeah, likewise. I'm happy to have you on, talking to a legend, been changing the game ever since you've been in comics. And of course, now you're bringing a wonderful and beautiful project to life, and working with Mad Cave, to support, all those creators out there that sadly lost homes or displaced in California. So, blast and be safe out there, mi gente, but Mad Cave is out here to do something beautiful. We're going to get into all of that. But if you guys don't know who Sarah is, for shame. So, Sarah, I need your origin story. Tell us a bit about yourself, where you're originally from, and the most important question you ever have in your life. What is the first thing in all of fandom that you ever fell in love with?
Oh, wow. Okay. So I'm from Tennessee originally, and I didn't really grow up on comics actually, but I did grow up on sci-fi and fantasy, and fantastical worlds. And then I started reading comics kind of as an escape from college and graduate school. And then it was really in graduate school that I figured out that this was something that I could actually do with my life. So I did internships at Marvel. I was lucky to land one where I spent a whole summer building a database for them of I read 300 issues of the Fantastic Four. And so it was the first appearance of the Fantasticar and the first appearance of Sue Storm's Malice look and making a record, a database for them of all of that, which was a really incredible deep dive into the universe. And I got this grounding of what Marvel was, that's Fantastic Four is the original family. And I kind of just fell in love with it.
What do you think about that sneak, that little tease they gave us on the new FF project? What do you think?
It looks fun. I'm excited by how stylish that film looks. I really love WandaVision because that show had a vision. And so I'm very excited to see that happening here. I know honestly very little about it, not much more than you do, but I'm excited for what it comes out.
Exactly. I liked what I saw. I'm digging it, and I can't believe that though. As a child, you got to read comic books. Hey, the first that must have been so much fun.
Yeah, how wild is it now that we're living in a world where we're going to see Galactus on screen? That's crazy.
Finally, there's no Cloud. Jesus, yeah, they gave us Galactus. All right. So Sarah, when you were getting into the culture, if you will, were you a lone wolf or did you have a pack, if you will, a fellow geeks in your life?
A little bit of both. I was definitely not a popular kid, let's say. But there was a cadre of us who learned how to write notes to each other in Elven and things like that. I always found my people. So yeah, I've always been surrounded by nerds, and I think that's also why when I fell into comics, I loved it because the community of comics is so tight and niche in a lot of ways, but not in exclusionary ways, just in very everyone knows each other. It's tight, it's friendly, it's people helping each other up, and sharing a bunch of resources. I think the number of resources that you can find on how to make a comic book is pretty extraordinary. So I feel like people are just really incredibly generous in this industry, and I love that about it. And I love weird people and weird culture. Some of my first fandoms were, probably Alien, honestly, and then getting to work on Alien comics was super cool. But She-Hulk is the character that I really fell in love with. That's what drove me into comics. I read all of her single issue appearances, all of her John Byrne era. I just like, I
Nice.
love that character so much.
Excellent. So the Byrne era, what was the other guy? Oh man, who else touched the book? That was
Dan Slott wrote a great one.
yeah, that's what, so between the two eras, do you have a favorite between the two?
Oh, between those two, I mean, they're so different. They really have completely different purposes. There are great things, and then there are flaws about both. But I mean, the art in the John Byrne one is like what made that character really beloved.
Yeah.
So I probably got to go with that one. But
Yeah, lean into the OG, baby, over there, lean that. Yeah, I love it.
yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. So you started as an intern, you're saying so, but you moved on up and you started doing some, big things. And how long was that process? But when they started noticing your skills, if you will.
Yeah. So, man, it does take a while. I did 2 internships, and then I did a part-time job cleaning up digital files for them. So, like, literally going into Photoshop and kind of cleaning up backgrounds and making sure the colors were displaying correctly. And I did that for 9 months, and then they offered me a full-time job in the trades department. And I actually was over there for 3 years. I would put together a few of the monthly collections, but then I also edited all of our prose novels, and then I did our special like art book collections for the movies and things like that. So it was really cool I loved getting the side of like the production things. Like I was really tight with our designers. The trades department is really close to the bullpen. And so I feel like I really got a very good sort of ground level understanding of how to make a book. Like just how to produce a physical product. But I got noticed because Alex Alonso read some of my notes on a Daredevil prose novel and liked it. And there was an opening in the monthly floppy editorial department and asked me if I wanted it. And I was like, absolutely, yes, please.
Must you ask me? Are you crazy?
So yeah, and then I ended up working for Will Moss, who is possibly the best person that I ever could have landed with. He's so smart and so generous with his time and his knowledge, and was a great mentor for me. So yeah, worked for him for a few years, and then finally got the big girl title of my own.
So all right. So talk about what was the biggest challenges? Before once you got to that baby, would you say that was the biggest challenge because it was your first baby, or did you have a particular moment as well, maybe that you're super proud of?
I mean, the thing that I'm most proud of is the Marvel Voices program and the work that I did with that, which was, I didn't start the Marvel Voices program. That actually came out of a podcast run by Angelique Roche. And then there was an editor who's no longer at Marvel named Chris Robinson, who did the very first ever Marvel Voices anthology. And it was really incredible. They took this thing that people were kind of curious about and kind of said, well, okay, we'll give you enough space to go do that, but we're not really sure like what it's going to do, And there was a huge response, and people loved it, and they loved being spoken to so directly. So for those who don't know, on the podcast, the Marvel Voices program was sort of, or is sort of like Marvel's kind of recruitment program. It's where we reach out to diverse talent, some of whom are in comics, some of whom are from other walks of entertainment, and invite them to tell Marvel stories. So a lot of people doing their first ever comic book, along with like, we usually try to have one kind of, industry legend on each of the anthologies as well, so that there was always something there for every kind of fan. But I am super, super proud of having brought in dozens and dozens of women and people of color and queer people to get their first ever gigs at Marvel. And some of them are now some of our biggest stars, honestly. So I take that heart, like that is going to live with me forever.
Mama Bear over here, look at that, watching over her kitties that she brought in. Love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I see that. I see that. You give a good energy, and that's great. Thank you for giving those opportunities. That otherwise may have not been presented to them. So that's awesome.
That's what I'm here
work
for.
right there, homie. Good work. I mean, so talking about good work, right? You're doing something awesome with Mad Cave Studios. Now, before we jump into that particular project, how did you land with Mad Cave, man? What? I saw that happened back in February, I believe, right?
Yeah. So I first started working with them a little bit in January, and we just made the official announcement. But I was with Marvel for almost 15 years, a long time, if you count internships and all of that. So it was really where I'd kind of grown up in a lot of ways. But it was a wonderful place. I loved being there. But I was ready kind of for a change of pace. I wanted to tell some different kinds of stories. As much as I do love the superhero world and my heart's always going to be there. I'm now editing Flash Gordon, which is like very similar energy. Like I love that stuff.
Yeah,
but I also was so excited by a lot of the creator owned things that Mad Cave is doing. A lot of the stuff that they're doing with their other imprints, like Maverick, which is incredibly diverse YA line. And I just felt like when I first started talking to Mike Martz, the editor-in-chief of Mad Cave, I was just so impressed with it felt like Mad Cave was really smart about how they were building the industry, and that, yes, it's for the individual company. Like we want the company to do well, but they have an understanding that in comics, you don't ever stand alone. Even Marvel and DC need each other, right? They're not really rivals. We all need each other for a healthy industry.
It feels like kayfabe, wrestling kayfabe between Marvel and DC, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I knew somebody that worked at in Marvel offices, DC offices, and somehow talking to me about all these Marvel books he was seeing in that man. I said, "How you doing it? You work at DC?" He said, "Yo, they share each other's shit." I'm like, "Really? Okay, that's interesting." Like, all right, I wouldn't think that they would do that, but whatever.
Yeah,
it destroyed it for me. The kayfabe was over. You bunch of shysters, you.
No, it's great. I mean, Marvel and DC used to play softball games. Like it's always been very friendly.
That's
So
cool.
yeah, that's why I came to Mad Cave, because I was really excited about what they're doing. I feel like they're pushing the industry forward in really interesting ways, and that's what I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to help the industry kind of take the next step. So yeah.
Excellent. So let me bring up this wonderful project, because how did this project come about, Mac? It was called LA Strong, folks. As you can see right there's a charity comic again for the victims of the Los Angeles fires. Again, she keeps doing good work, folks. Jeez. All right. So talk about how did this all come about? 'Cause I remember on LinkedIn somewhere when the fires were going on. I believe it was Mark London. He put out a message. He was like doing something, and I saw a lot of publishers kind of start, hey, yeah, let's talk. I said, okay, are they going to do something? And then all of a sudden, I see this announcement. So talk to me about that. Those behind the scenes conversations to bring this baby to life.
Yeah. This happened so fast. I think it was my second week at Mad Cave, and
week 2. Jeez.
Yes. And we were all so upset and terrified for all of the freelancers that we were already hearing from. And then we saw a couple of the people who'd lost their homes had already begun posting some of their GoFundMes. And it was actually Mike Martz who came to me, I think that Monday or Tuesday morning, and said, "Hey, I was thinking we should do something. We can do something about this. Why don't we do a charity comic and raise funds for the people who've lost their homes?" And obviously I would love that, and I was so grateful that got to be one of my first big things to put together. Honestly, nice. So yeah, we have what is it? It's like, I forget exactly how many contributors, but it's close to 100 people total.
I have a page I want to show that has a whole bunch of names, and yes, I mean I do have the press release in front of me, right? And yeah, I mean, if you want this, listen, folks, this is some of the names: Barbara Kessel, Brian Azzarello, Brian Michael Bendis, Dan Didio, Marv Wolfman, Frank Thierry, Steve Orlando, Stephanie Phillips, Cinna Grace, Amanda Connor, Nico Leung, Michael Avon Omi, Salvador La Roca, Sammy Cavella. Listen, there's more. I can't name them all. It's just nuts. They went nuts with this. I mean, look at this gorgeous cover, man. Wow, and powerful indeed.
Isn't it gorgeous? That's Ian Churchill. Really, I was so amazed by the number of people who came out of the woodwork. It was Mark London who posted on LinkedIn for people to first start reaching out, and then we did our sort of official press releases. And I reached out to a few people kind of on my own who I thought might have pieces that would be appropriate for the book already. So it's been incredible. The people who have shown up, people who have taken so much time to draw, not just, there's a couple of people who drew like 3-page sequences, and just donated all of that time. And I got to also shout out Jeff Eckleberry, who has lettered 90% of the book
wow,
for
man.
total donation.
Letterers, man. Yeah, you got to give them shouts, man.
Yeah, no kidding. But really a colossal effort. It's almost done. I'm almost ready to send it to print.
I mean, look at this. There's a whole bunch more. 100% of the profits are going to be donated to relief efforts, folks. Let me try to put that on a bigger screen. Not that's going to help, but yes, I mean, look at that list of names. Dios mío. Diablo. That's
it's incredible.
The community has come out for this. It's beautiful. It's beautiful, Sarah. Man.
Thank you, and we appreciate everyone highlighting it. You know, it's going to be in stores March 19th, and
you can pre-order it now at the Mad K website. Yes, you can get it
that's
done.
Right.
Get it done. All right, and look at some of the art right here. Oof, look at that.
Yeah. Oh, this is so pretty. So this is by this art here is by Janet Sung, and the text is by Christos Gage. And I don't think it's giving too much away to talk about Christos. I love this text from him. I've worked with Christos a bunch, legendary creator. And he's a really sweet, like kind of kermuffle and, like wants to come across as an old man. And so his personality is so vibrant in this page. I love it. So.
But I love the colors too on this. Everything it's a great looking page. But then we get to this and wow.
Yeah, this one is a Gary Maloney wrote for it, and the art is by Lee Ferguson. And this one is an angry page, which I'm really happy with. Actually, most of the anthology is rightfully devoted to people reflecting on hope and the things that we can do to help each other in mutual aid. But there are a few pages in there that do really touch upon the rage that we're allowed to feel and the loss that we're allowed to feel. And this is one of them. So it's a really powerful page.
It is. It's a gorgeous page. And I just love how the top is like dripping into the bottom panel,
Mm-hmm.
And you see this man, it really leads into, you follow that money, you used to see some dude just completely lost, not knowing what to do. I mean, it's impactful, beautiful.
Yeah.
And you got this. I mean, look at this.
Yeah, this is a piece by Victor Santos did the art for it. It's really gorgeous. And the text in the inset panels up there is also his. And then Amit Tischler was inspired by it and added some text. I'm placing this one sort of near the end of the book. It's one of my favorite, it's a great sentiment to end on, like now we got to roll up our sleeves and just keep helping each other because the fires may be out, but the devastation is nowhere near dealt with.
It's insane. I've seen those images. It's just, where homes used to be.
Yeah.
People trying to find something, but there's really nothing. It's ash. I mean, it's wow. I mean, I live on the East Coast. I've never experienced anything on that scale or even seen it. I mean, I cannot imagine living on that side of the world, of the country, and having to deal with that and earthquakes and all that. No, I'm good. Leave me I'm good. I get snow. Woo!
I mean, we get snow and we get floods. If you were in the city in Sandy, sort of a similar rally for mutual aid that's very inspiring, but also really sad that we have to do that.
Yeah, right. Man, again, I love the imagery though. It really does say a lot, and I could really see how the artists are really, their pain is actually reflected in the pages, dude. It's just crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And look at this, the words on fire. I love that. Holy.
Yeah. Jeff really brought his energy for this one. This one's by Jeff Ryan and PJ Holden, and it's a lovely, fantastical page. We did a few people who did sort of more story-oriented pages, and this one's really unusual. I think it's really going to resonate with folks.
It's gorgeous. And folks, look, it's going to be in shops on the 19th, all right? It's readily available for pre-order right now. Now, also, I want to talk about this, the Bink Foundation, and they're also involved in this bad boy. So talk about you guys building, this a whole bunch of people, companies together to really unite. How was those conversations like? I'm interested in all that because I would love to be able to one day help on those type of levels. So again, using your voices skills, I guess, right, and bringing in talent. Like, how do you handle those conversations and build like this? Such a wonderful.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of, the partnership with Bink and everything, I got to give props to Mark Irwin and to Mark London for really setting those up and reaching out. Bink is such a cool organization. What they do on the daily basis already is awesome. And so they were already sort of on top of trying to provide fire relief. And they made perfect kind of partners for this. So we're really grateful to them and everything that they're doing. And then, in terms of like, my job is thankfully easier in some ways because I'm reaching out to the individual talent, a lot of whom I already know, and so I was able to kind of. I mean, it was a strange experience in a lot of ways because I was emailing some people going, "Hi, by the way, I've left Marvel where you've known me for the last 10 years. Oh, and do you want to do this thing for me?" um, but yeah, honestly, it was easy for me because I had these relationships and because I knew that people would be really generous. And everybody in comics is working really hard and spending a lot of time. Everybody's strapped on deadlines. So I'm just really grateful for, especially the artists who took extra time to sit down and draw a page. Because I think any writer would admit, as much as our time is strapped, we can always like write down a paragraph or something and move on. But for an artist to really sit down and spend a day or two or three working on a piece is really special. So I don't
Yeah.
know if that really answered your question, but
I get it. Again, you use your network and all, and again, see, folks, be nice, don't burn bridges. You see what could happen?
no lie, this community is too small. Be nice to everyone.
Yes, please. Now, see, you're doing heroic things, and the world right now needs more heroes like that, right? So let me ask you, how do you see comics playing a role in real world activism and support efforts like this?
Yeah, I mean, I think that just like any industry, comics can always ask, what are we doing with our money? Where are our resources going? And they should be going to building community within comics, to building an industry that can support the lives of real artists and writers, not just to make money for giant publishers.
Yeah.
Um,
Not
you know,
IP machines, you know?
yes, exactly. Which I'm very grateful that Mad Cave is not that at all. Mad Cave is really invested in creativity and in pushing the industry and doing new things. So I think that's a sort of responsibility. I think also as you know book banning, for example, is about to be a big thing. And one of my colleagues actually invited all of the editorial group to a big call that some other publishers organized to talk about what publishers could do to fight book banning and how we as editors can show up to help our talent who are being attacked by things like this. And so that was a really enlightening call. All of us came away with strategies that we could use. And I was inspired that almost every member of Mad Cave's team voluntarily went to that call because we all were really invested in it. So that's something that I think comic books can do and comic book publishers should be thinking about. And then we just need to be telling, we need to be telling the stories of people whose lives are being affected right now, all across the board, whether that's, you know, highlighting stories by people of color, highlighting stories by queer people, especially trans and non-binary people right now. Just showing, in the face of all of this suppression and this like fascism, that we're not going to bend, that we're going to stand up for the world that we've been trying to create.
I hear you. You got to keep fighting strong. Absolutely. See how, pun intended, right? At least
Yeah.
keep fighting strong. Let's go. Let's go. All right. So, with everything you've accomplished thus far, with Marvel, this fantastic book, folks. Let me leave this up there because you guys got to know where to get it, right? Where pre-order it on the 19th for the 19th, right? It's going to be in your hands, right? This big, beautiful book you saw with amazing talent. So with everything you've accomplished, what's next for you thus far? Are you going to keep continuing editing? Are you going to create your own stories now? What's going on here? Like, are we gonna get your universe going? Come on.
I mean, I do honestly hope so, man. It's a little bit of both. I love making comics. I love being a facilitator of creative teams. So I'm not going anywhere on that front anytime soon. But I will be honest that like a lot of folks at Mad Cave behind the scenes, other editors and even folks in marketing have their own creative efforts too, which I really love. And I'm getting to work from home now, which is sweet. And so I'm definitely spending a lot more time doing my own writing and yeah, honestly working on a novel and hoping it goes somewhere next year. So we'll see.
Oh snap! The Brunstad verse is coming to
Yeah.
you, baby. There's gonna be fire. I'm excited again. I mean, all right. So the other question I had here, of course, is for comic fans who want to support early strong, we know you could get it. You could get it at Mad Cave, right? I know. And is there any other spots? Because they work with Luna now, right? So yeah, so it'll be your local comic shop as well. Because yes, that Diamond fiasco, but Mad Cave ahead of the curve, baby.
Right. Yes.
But how else do you think that fans can continue to contribute beyond just buying the book?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, yes, please buy 1 billion copies of the book. Give it to all of your friends. Tell your mom to buy 1 billion copies of the book. Moms love this kind of stuff.
It is 100% of the profits go to the cause. All right, so
that's right. So definitely do that. But also, please support Bink. Please support other local organizations. We're actually going to run a resources page at the back of the anthology that lists a couple of the other folks that are helping out. Like, for example, there's the Pasadena Community Foundation is doing really incredible work. There are a couple of grants that are available for artists in Los Angeles right now that you can look up that they're closing in a couple of weeks. So those are good places to donate. And I think also just if you don't live on the West Coast and you're kind of like, well, I've given some money, like that's all I can afford to do, just think about how you can build resiliency in your own communities, because we're all going to be facing different kinds of natural disasters, different kinds of health crises. Like there's a lot coming our direction.
Yeah, alien invasions, who knows,
That's right. So just be thinking about how can I be better friends with my neighbors? How can I make sure that the people around me have what they need, that I have what I need? Take care of yourselves and other people.
Oh, there we go. So all right. So one question here. Let me ask, right? If you had to edit a comic featuring me as a superhero,
oh, okay.
what would be my power and my weakness, and who would be the big bad? No pressure, but make me look good,
Oh man. Okay. Well, let's see. I mean, you have a very booming, enthusiastic voice, so I can see you being like a kind of Angar the Screamer, the Inhuman character, or Black Bolt is maybe the more exciting one. Yeah, maybe a voice power. Which, let's see, what would your enemy then? I mean, I don't know. What is the natural enemy of like any entertainment host? Maybe
a mic.
Yeah, I was about to say a silencer of some kind.
Silencer. There we go. The silencer. He cuts off your voice.
Yeah, exactly.
I bet. I think it's funny. I dig it. Yeah. Everybody said that I am loud. So yeah, thank you. She called me loud, but very nicely. I dig
it. You gotta be. It's your job. That's what you're.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I'm the MC. When I was at MegaCon one year, there was a Captain dude dressed in Captain America with a megaphone trying to call people over. I had no megaphone and I was still louder than him. He kept looking at me really angrily, like, "Yo, can you like lower your voice? You have a megaphone, bro." You talking about?
Step it up.
You see, our megaphone is built in right here. That's why I'm so loud. Yeah. Anyway.
That's right.
So Sarah, what's up? Can anybody see you anytime soon at any conventions that be popping up? Are you going to be touring with Mad Cave, hanging out on the scene? What's going on?
I definitely will go to some cons, but I don't know which ones yet. I don't have any coming up. I'm going to go to FlameCon almost certainly just because I love it. And I know that James Emmett from Mad Cave is probably going to be there, kind of repping Mad Cave. So we'll have some people at FlameCon for sure. And of course, I'll be at New York Comic Con in some capacity.
I'll see you in New York for sure. Then that's my spot. I love the New York Comic Con because it's so much more comics focused than Sandy. Sandy's fun as a pop culture event, but New York is a comic event, and it really does show up for comics.
Yeah, I think so too. I got to go to San Diego the year that it was a strike a couple of years ago. And it was actually really cool because hardly any of the Hollywood people were there. And so, like, we did get to just enjoy comics.
Yeah, the Comic Con for the first time in its 50-plus year existence.
Yep.
Love it. Hey, I hope I could get to go to a Sandy on those type of terms. Not hating on the TV stuff. I actually, when I went to San Diego, I went with my business partner, and he stood online for Hall H like the whole Saturday.
Oh my God!
I said, dude, I'm not gonna stand here. I'm gonna go. It was the best day of my life because no one was on the show floor because of Hall H. So basically, I'm approaching every Austin creator one by, hey, what's up, hanging out? Like, oh shit,
nice.
And they're like, they don't like us today because it's Marvel announcement day. Like, it was so funny. But I had a great time with them. So I hope to run into you at New York Comic Con so that way you could feel the might of Mr. over here, all right?
Awesome.
But you're awesome, folks. I'm going to tell you again, this is what you got to do. Follow Sarah on X at the Mighty Brunstad, all right? Check her out there. Support Mad Cave Studios. I spelled website wrong. You didn't even catch that, huh? I spelled website wrong, but check out madcavestudios.com for some awesome comics like LA Strong, which will be available March 19th at your local comic shop. But you can pre-order it now at the Mad Cave Studios website, or even go to your local comic shop, put that on your pull list. Like, I forgot to ask, how many pages we're going for here?
56 pages. It's a monster.
Ooh, and you saw with that list of creative teams touching this book, yo, guys and gals, this is it. You got to make this happen. All right. Remember, 100% of the profits go to the
relief efforts to the displaced creators.
I don't see it. So the relief efforts, but show some love. A big shout out to my big homie Melissa from Don't High PR for connecting us. She rocks for real. Sarah, you rock. My Crusaders, you guys are awesome. Everybody that tuned in, y'all rock. Again, just remember, it's Mad Cave Studios. It's LA Strong. It is Sarah Brunstad. Wepa, baby. I'm going to check you out on the next time. Laters. Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.com and our extended podcast family over at undercovercapes.com. And also, make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.